This time on Ask Rad Rat, I review someone's thesis, and we also talk about what makes a skater good. Let's get into it. Welcome back to Rad Rat Video, where 3 times a week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we learn something new about skateboarding. So it could be trick histories, game reviews, learning new tricks on the shred school, catching up with old pros on retro rippers, and answering your questions on this series, Ask Rad Rat. I've got 2 pretty beefy questions for you today. The first of which is from Von Spencer. Now, Von actually wrote a thesis for his university about skateboarding. Well, let me just get into my notes here. So he talks about how skateboarding was about taking obstacles from the public and reappropriating them into skateboard obstacles. So in other words, taking a wheelchair ramp, which is designed for a wheelchair to get up to a door, and making it into a ramp where you ollie over the rail or something like that. And as skateboarding sort of took these things and made them their own, that the graphics and the brands were doing the same thing. They would take art and just, change it around a little bit, make a parody of it, take some art and put like a demonic pentagram on it or something, and just like be more offensive, but also kind of take stuff. And so this question is about how that has kind of cooled off. It seems like things are less offensive and less in your face. And he wonders how skateboarding and graphics will continue to parallel each other in the future. So really big question. I didn't read his entire thesis, but we talked about it a bit. And I thought that was a pretty interesting idea. Just that, skateboarding's conquering the public, conquering street obstacles. And so we're just gonna take stuff and make it our own from the graphics and everything. But I think there's a pretty big issue with that idea. I've read a lot about how they made graphics back then, and some of it, maybe it was supposed to be, whatever, offensive and all that, but some of it was just really lazy. So they talked about, there was an interview, it came up in one of the research topics I did, I don't remember who, but they were talking about how with this brand, they would go to the library, they would get like a, like a coffee table picture book, like a photography book, and they would just take a picture out of it. They would make copies of it and just print it on a board. And it'd be blown up and it would look all crappy and everything. And there was no point to it. It's just that the company was run by a 19-year-old who just started it last week, and they just wanted to get something on a board. Plus, what people were doing back then is they would peel off the graphics and they would paint solid colors on it and they would skate them like that. So I just don't think graphics were that important at the time. Also, you had a lot of really crappy Photoshop. Photoshop first came out, I don't remember what year, like 92 or something like that. And so you would see stuff where it would just be like a picture of someone's face, but it had to fit a certain spot, so they would just stretch it. You see all that kind of just really terrible looking stuff. So in part, I could see what you're talking about. But I think as time went on, these brands are still owned by the same people, and they've just gotten older and they've matured. Graphic design and everything has gotten better. Skateboarding, like these brands in particular, have gotten more prestige, so they could attract actual talent and not just someone who's gonna, make something in 5 minutes. A lot of those graphics looked like something your grandma would have made in Word with word art or something. So I think a lot of it is more maturity in general. And not just about, the culture of skateboarding, because that hasn't really changed. People are still going out and conquering stuff. They're still trying to do the next biggest gap no one's ever done before. They're still trying to figure out how to skate this thing better, all that kind of stuff. I don't think that culture has really changed. I just think there's a little less youthful anger in skateboarding these days. So let me know what you think about this below. It's a really big topic. I don't know if I can really cover it all that well in this format, but that's what I had for that. Next question is from Flip Longa. What makes a skater good? And he talks about how there's those really technical YouTube skaters who will spend a whole week trying to land some crazy late whatever. And then you have someone like Cole Wilson, where he does a lot of really simple grinds and he gets more attention from that. So he agrees with that being the way it should be, by the way. But the question is, how does that work out? I remember back when I was younger, when I first started skating, all that mattered to me was how good a trick was on paper. So if you did a 50-50 down a 15 stair handrail and this guy did a triple kickflip on flat doing 1 mile an hour, I would think the triple flip was better because triple flip 50-50. Like, come on, obviously the triple flip's more difficult. And that's how I always used to think. And I think a lot of people still have that kind of mindset. So you think of those people on YouTube, they're out there just trying to do the craziest trick, spending a week on it, filming it constantly, and then they cut out the 1-2 second clip where they do it. That's kind of like the guys, I think like Dude Perfect or something, where they're doing all the trick basketball shots, stand on top of a building and throw the ball all the way down there, and you know, after 200 tries, they happen to make the basket. Like, it's cool, and I like watching that. I like watching the basketball. I like watching the skateboarding stuff we're talking about, but it's just not really at that level. Like, compare those guys to LeBron James. Who's a better basketball player? Obviously, it's the guy who actually has, you know, a more rounded skill set and all that stuff. In particular with Cole Wilson, if you watch his part, yeah, the tricks are generally pretty basic, but the places that he's doing them, the weird kinked rails and all that kind of stuff, that stuff really takes a lot of skill. You can't just skate that handrail all day, put in 1,000 tries and land it. You'll probably die if you just throw yourself on a rail and you don't know how to do it. So it's more about the actual skill that he's built up. And I think that makes a lot more sense. Like the Harlem Globetrotters versus an actual basketball team, it's just not really the same. And the skill that it takes to do that kind of stuff is a lot more impressive from like a legitimate standpoint rather than just fluking into something. Because I recently taught how to do a semi-flip. Check that out right here. And I feel like if I had some kind of like a really mellow fun box, I might be able to do like a 360 double semi-flip or a 540 triple semi-flip or something like that. You know, it would just take me a whole week. I'd land it sketchy, and it really doesn't show skill. It just shows like how much patience I have, you know, how much time I'm willing to sink into something. I think that's what one of the big differences is. So let me know what you think about that below. Also, let me know all of your questions for next time. I have a link to my Instagram and my Twitter below in the description. Send me a DM on one of those to get your question in, and I will try to record it next time. So thank you for watching. Here's some more videos to check out, and don't forget to subscribe so you can learn something new about skateboarding 3 times a week. Thanks for watching.